Can you hear okay? Can you see
I
okay?
can
You feeling
hear, I
okay?
can see. How about you?
Can you smell? Can you touch?
All of the things.
Let's back up the train. Great time to reevaluate. You're in this like another uncomfortable place. Welcome to healing. Welcome back to Ask Us Anything. Gosh, we were just talking a moment ago about this question today, and it's got a number of parts. So let's just see what shakes.
Yeah.
But if you're tuning in and you are in a position of like, wait, I did the thing and I still don't feel relief, you're going to want to listen in to this episode, or not the relief you wanted, right? The relief you expected. The person gave us their full name for this
So
submission,
brave.
and their full name is Tired Lawyer. Oh, I shouldn't laugh. I'm not laughing. I'm laughing alongside you. Okay. A little bit of background from the questioner, the listener. They're a senior associate, got some experience. They identify as neurodivergent. They are the sole earner in their home, and they have 3 kids. The paycheck they get contributes, in their own words, to the future financial freedom of their family. So the stakes are high, is kind of what I'm gathering from Tired Lawyer. But here's the question for Emily and Katie. I work in a high stress, demanding field and have been majorly burned out for several years now. I recently made significant changes to address some of the more acute causes of burnout, like getting more and regular sleep, shifting my practice group to work with less toxic people, and reducing my workload. Bravo or brava, or brav, whatever the gender neutral bravo is. Um, to my shock, however, it turns out that the costs incurred from years of abuse on my mind and body because of work did not immediately and fully resolve the moment I started to impose reasonable boundaries at work. And I now find myself in a place where I'm still completely burned out, but without the crutch of overworking. I am now also unable to meet my company's, my own expectations of me at work. I can't go backwards. I'm not physically able to sustain those hours anymore, but I fear that if I continue with my current path, my current employment is rapidly going to get cut short. Uh, I just want to respond to that last sentence. Um, it sounds dire, and that's okay. And my response wants to be appropriately matched for like the level of I'm afraid this is going to kill me is basically what's being said. That's how I'm interpreting it.
Well, afraid it's life altering consequences, both in terms of physical health, but financial health as well. That's what I was hearing
Mhm.
too. Like, if I don't go back to working in this way, I might not be able to provide for my family,
Yeah.
which is a fraught tension.
So where do you want to start?
Oh, there are so many entry
I
points
know.
here, but first, and you already gave Tired Lawyer props. It takes courage, to not only set boundaries, but to say, "I'm gonna get my 7, 8, 9 hours of sleep tonight. I'm gonna move my body. I am going to journal and meditate and do all of those things." So I wanna double down on the applause and the snaps. And, you mentioned our physical being, and you mentioned, what's on your heart and your mind and the damage that's been done there. You use the term burnout, and that gets thrown around a lot. And folks aren't always super clear what it means. And sometimes now, even when I see it used, folks aren't um, believing that it is as dire as this particular listener is talking about. And so for those who are listening, what I would say is the symptoms of burnout are identical to those of anxiety, depression, and post traumatic stress, all the way down to the physical manifestations of diabetes and heart disease. So, burnout, for the buzziness that it has, there are actually medical symptoms and conditions that attach to it. With that, we can't solve those problems with a month, 2 months, 90 days of good habits and practices. We are a nervous system covered with bones and skin, right? And so it sounds like this listener also needs to reconnect with their nervous system. One of my favorite books to do this is The Body Keeps the Score. There's a workbook that comes along with it, but it helps us to understand why things take a little bit longer, might take a little different path in order for us to heal. And the healing journey is not comfortable. And it sounds like Tired Lawyer is not only tired, but also uncomfortable. And I want to normalize that. Healing is deeply uncomfortable, but what lives on the other side of healing is freedom, which I
Mhm.
know financial freedom sounds like is a core goal and value for the family, but there's also freedom for you on the other side of this healing journey.
Yeah. You had me thinking of your nervous system and kind of what we get used to, like what becomes normal often is very it's not good for us just because it's normal, right? To be working at a certain pace and to be, sort of adapting and reclaiming like our productivity. And I think what this person tired lawyer has realized is like, yeah, my nervous system operating at that level, like, not going to do it. And you have given yourself an opportunity to have more space to tune in to like, well, what is normal for me? Like, what is a good place for me to be so that you can continue to like be around your family, right? And be pleasant to be around along with making what you need to make to live and thrive. I have a couple questions for this person. One is, Katie, I think you said like one of the values you hear in this is something around stability, legacy, mm, security.
Security.
Yeah. You've done all the methods. This person has done all the methods, right? Sleep, imposing boundaries, right? I'm curious about from what place did you make those decisions, right? So we've got a couple of the values identified. What else is there? A lot of what I would want to work on with this person is kind of like absent anything else, including money. Um, but money is important in this instance, and it's like it's not bad that money is important. It is important. What else is important?
It's a pay to play society.
You
We
gotta
got to
have
have
it.
it.
What else matters to you? Because I want to unpack a little bit if I had this person in front of me, like, what does it mean not to be able to meet your own expectations? What are your expectations? A little bit about just when we are in a place where your central nervous system is vibing, right? Like you're not in fight or flight. You can sort of like absorb information and reflect information. What's the minimum viable product to get there? And I think your values are the answer.
Mhm.
And addressing that kind of one by one to come up with the principles by which you will live, not just the methods that you will deploy. And I'm taking this right out of Real Self Care by Pooja Lakshman.
Oh, look what I happen to have
Oh,
right here on my desk.
well,
Mhm,
well, well.
mhm.
Look at us practicing what we preach too. Yeah, that was a lot of words, but I think like let's back up the train. Great time to reevaluate. You're in this like another uncomfortable place. Welcome to healing, right? The journey continues. Now let's back it up even not even back it up. Maybe go deeper to the next layer of healing. And I think that's probably values based, you know?
Values-based, and I don't know if this comes up for you at all, Emily, when thinking about the workplace. I always bristle when an employer calls their workplace a family or we'll tell a client, in the job description, it says, "We're family here." Red flag, right? We wanna
Totally.
be very careful about that because it's not a family. Your family can't just fire you. I mean, they can if you do something really egregious, but, it's not at will employment like most
Mhm.
states are, which makes it not a family. However, there are a lot of parallels, I think, that we can draw from family systems theory, in therapy to how people get where they are and have the beliefs that they have as it relates to their work in the workplace by looking at family systems theory. And so when hired lawyer is talking about, I'm not meeting my own expectations, which Emily, I think you hit on, like, but why are your expectations your expectations? Is
Mhm.
success only financial freedom? Then let's adjust expectations accordingly. Or my guess is it's a whole lot of other things. So, how are we redefining the expectations to meet those measures of success? But in a family system, when someone comes in and starts showing up not as the person or the role that they've been playing for so long, it messes with the system and people don't like that. And so it's often a knee jerk reaction until that courageous conversation can be had about why you're choosing to show up differently, why you're setting these boundaries, why you're choosing different clients and practice areas. It's that can then restabilize the system, but I think what's happening right now is the system has malfunctioned because you've chosen to be brave, and that isn't a signal for you to stop being brave and courageous and boundaried. It's an invitation to have those deeper second level conversations with your employer.
Yeah, I feel like our invitation is take all you've done and keep going, right? Like keep doing the work that you've been doing and adding in this later or this part was what came to me as I was reading it is like, well, what other help do you need? Did you read a book and deploy the principles from the book and they've worked for you and now you're kind of looking for what's next? Or are you working with a coach, a therapist? Are you talking to your family about this? Who else is in on it with you? You know, your support square. Who's in? Who's in? And to that extent, what I feel like is possible when you realize that you have, first of all, you've not judged yourself because you've asked for help.
Mhm,
So you're not judging that. You're doing it. But like with that awareness that there's people in on it with you, like what is, and sometimes I like to be like, what's the worst case, right? And doing a little bit of, thinking around like, well, okay, let's go all the way over to you leave the profession of law. Like, let's just play with it, right? Is it a systems problem at that level? Then let's go all the way to nothing changes, right? From a systems perspective, but what else can you change? And we just get to play with this, but we also play with it in community and we play with it, with people who can push back, push forward, whatever it is. This person's very clearly relationship focused too,
mhm.
and I think that's going to benefit them a lot in the next season of healing.
Yes, and I don't wanna ignore the fact that tired lawyer identified as being
I
neurodivergent,
was
and we
just going
haven't
to bring
even
that up.
touched on that yet.
Yes.
You go, say,
No,
say the
you.
thing.
You.
No, just employers are becoming increasingly more aware of neurodivergence, thank goodness,
Slowly,
very
but
slowly.
they're doing it.
You're a lawyer, you're an attorney. My guess is you've already talked to HR about the accommodations you need for your experience moving through the world and the workplace as a neurodivergent human. But if you haven't, please go ahead and get that documented right now with them. Ask for the accommodations that you need. And I am sure your doctor, healthcare professional will be happy to provide the note that says, yes, in order for this person to be successful, these are the accommodations that are needed. Additionally, there's a book called The Neurodiversity Edge, written by Maureen Dunn. Really exceptional. She moves through the world as neurodiverse as well. So she's not only a PhD and a doctor and an expert in this, but also has the lived experience. It's really an operations manual. And so reading the book for yourself, sharing it with your team, because what we know is you are not the only neurodivergent human working at this law firm and might be vulnerable to share, but that'll serve as an invitation for other folks to come forward as well.
There's a part of me that wants to just like, I don't know what I want to say kind of from the gut, but there's a real like experience I had. This is my last thought of reading this question, of just knowing that feeling. And I want to say to Tired Lawyer that we certainly hear you. I've been there, Katie. I know you have too. And that feeling of like, this, it cannot stay like this. And I just want to offer support and community. And like, it, first of all, this too shall pass. Everything's does, right? And life continues to be hard. So please lean on your relationships right now. Now is not the time to try and just do it all on your own. Because when we're at these places in our life, you need other supportive voices. So lean on us, lean on your family, lean on whomever. But yeah, I just wanted that felt important to me to say.
And very well said, as always.
Well, thanks. Listen, if you have someone who thinks could really benefit from hearing this episode, will you please send it to them right now? Like, click that little, what is it, a little square with an up arrow. Should be just right up there in your podcast. Send it to someone by text. Be like, listen to this on your commute instead of the new Charlie XCX album, which is all I'm listening to right now. And then if you want to ask a question, you can go to who'smissingpodcast.com/ask us anything. If you want to call and leave us a voicemail, you can do that. Number 773-389-3638. 773-389-3638. There's lots of ways to get in touch with us. And let's look, summer is here. And so, a lot of us are taking a break. When you take a break, sometimes it's good to reflect. If as you're reflecting, you're like, you know what, when I come back in the fall, I want to be better at this. Well, call us so we can help you, or reach out. Thanks for listening to Who's Missing. Ask us anything. Thank you, Katie.
Thanks, Em.
How's packing going? Has it begun?
Packing has not begun.
No, of course
No.
not. It wouldn't for me either.
As I was thinking about packing for this trip, and now you have flown with me, so you have seen the bag. You have seen the travel
I've seen
bag
the bag.
that has been on me since my first backpacking adventure in 2001.
Oh my gosh, one of the things I'm in charge of in our house is packing and unpacking. I get the job because I like it. I'm good at it. And it helps my family. Like nobody else is anxious about it. So I appreciate packing, is why I mentioned that. Are you someone when you get back from a trip, do you immediately unpack?
Oh, absolutely not.
Yeah.
No.
I don't even know why I asked you that question.
You already knew the answer.
I know. I really kind of did.